10 seconds.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the View from the Dead Box. We have a week off last week, so we are back at it. Everybody's feeling good again.
Like the whole world we know got COVID.
Jesus Christ. I think it's American in general right now, I feel like.
Yeah.
We have Matt the Gym Rat Davies in here with
What's
us.
up? What's up?
Is this your second time or third time?
Second.
Second? Okay. At least count. So
you guys had an event this weekend, right?
Yeah, the CPSL, the one that we were hoping to see y'all at, but when I heard y'all got COVID, I was like, dang,
Yeah.
that sucks. I'm sure y'all needed a week off though.
It's been definitely a hectic event calendar here.
Yeah. And then the next two events are like right next to each other, right?
Back to back again. So it's pick our poison, really.
Yep.
So
what
how
happened,
was that? Yeah.
I mean, CPSL is pretty good. It's the same stuff, that we always talk about, the CPSL that you always talk about. Same paint, same refs, but I mean, it was really, really good. I enjoyed it. There's always people that complain about the refs, but I think the refs were pretty good this time around. They're shooting the same paint as always. So, but they didn't do the pre-orders this time. It's $40 per case, like right there at the truck, which is really nice. But overall, the event ran pretty well. We got done at like 6. So,
oh wow,
nice.
We had plenty of time. And I mean, they were moving. Our matches were an hour apart from each other. So as soon as we were done, we'd sit down for 10 minutes and then we get up and start pod and paint and go back and play again.
Yeah.
Now, what was that at Rock Hill again?
Yeah, that was at Rock Hill. Yep.
I like
How
that.
was, I have felt like, honestly, besides like an event or two, I felt like slowly the CPSL has gotten better every event. Now obviously the paint is always the same, but I really don't get a lot of terrible calls from the refs. I feel like they're always pretty down the middle, you know what I mean? Like cut and dry. But I definitely feel like the last few I've been to have gotten better and better and better. So I've definitely have been happy about that. It's always a great sign. I'm kind of curious. I know we always say this, but I'm kind of curious of what they're going to do next season, because I feel like a lot more of the D4 guys that are there this year are going to be bumping up D3. Which you always say this, right? Like, we need a D3 division, and then they might post one. You'll have fucking 4 teams in it. It's worthless, right? Yeah. And that's probably how it'll be. But I'm just curious, because I feel like a lot of the D4 teams are going to be pushing forward, bumping up. You know what I mean? Because I mean, it's just how it's going to happen. Probably at least the top 5 teams won't be able to play, right? I know most of our guys are. All the 843 guys. You guys have played the NXL, so you're kind of fucked there. Like, your points are going to automatically push you over. I believe most of you guys should be D3. So without traveling to the MVPS, you really don't have another event series besides the NXLs, right? I mean, have you guys kind of looked into that yet, or have thought like moving forward?
Yeah, it usually splits, right? Like, some of the teams from North Carolina and Virginia go to the MSXL, and then everybody else around here goes like MVPS. But if you look at like the placings of the CPSL, it's pretty much like the same 5 teams place like top 5.
Yeah.
And so all those guys are gonna rank up. So it's gotta happen. And I mean, like us, we're all still D4 ranked, but we're all gonna be D3 next year. And I'm pretty sure that's the same with y'all. So it's like one of those things where it's like, you play enough paintball, everybody's going to get outranked. And so I think Andy's going to have to figure out a way to either put D5 and D3 on the same weekend, or even put D3 on a separate weekend. Maybe that's what the TSXL does. So one of those things where it's like 2 weekends, and I guess it gives people time to play it, kind of ruins the blind layout thing. But it all depends on like how he can do it. Cause I mean, Rock Hill has enough room to put up another field, but I doubt they'll do that. But yeah, I've talked to, Ryan that runs Clutch, talked to some other people, and I'm like, dude, we're gonna have too many D3 players next year. It's the same thing happened to Tantrum. Tantrum, did good in D4 2 years in a row at the CPSL. Then all of a sudden, like all their core guys that won them all those tournaments, like can't play with each other because they're all D3, and it's like
Yeah.
Tantrum's not gonna, drive 14 hours to play an event. So it's the same thing where like you've been running a D3 event for 3 years now, and you've seen some of the same people at the top like all 3 years. It's like gonna have to change something so that those people can keep playing, and give them a spot to actually play instead of traveling and going somewhere else.
What does that remind you of, Wes? Does that sound just like the GFOA?
Yeah, that's
that was the death of the GFOA.
Well, I mean, they went open, and this was the problem is we never played. Well, we had Project X, which was you were with, but at the time when you met me, I was playing the open division.
Yep.
There was a huge difference between D5 and then or D4, I think it was, and it went straight to open.
Yeah,
there was no in between. So and back then it was us, CEP,
KMA.
What?
KMA.
Well, we absorbed KMA.
Well, yeah, okay.
Yeah, so because KMA I don't think was playing open too long, and we basically combined the lines, but it was us, CEP, and then there was like 3 or 4. I think Adrenaline played a little bit, and there's a couple other small teams that were in there. But typically, it was this like Last Call, Fat City,
Desolators, I believe too.
They were. I think they came when it was.
It might have been towards the end. Okay.
Yeah, they got in there and it was like, because I remember when I was leaving, I stopped playing because there was like 4 or 5 teams are showing up. I'm like, this is ass.
Yeah. You were playing down with us because we would have. God, there would be so many D4 teams. Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's what they would actually do. They would rotate and it didn't count for the D4 players. Like it didn't matter, but they would literally have the open players play one D4 team each event just so they could get more spins. I forgot they did it like that.
Yep. I think it was, you played 6 games in your division and then 2.
Yeah.
You played 1 D4 team, 1 D5 team. So, but when I first started playing the PSP, we played novice, I think is what it was, and we played 1 pro team.
Yeah.
So you same thing. You play 1 amateur team, 1 pro team, and then you played your 6 teams in your division, which is kind of cool. But yeah, they're gonna have to figure out something. I know they talked about it last year, and that's how it always is, though. They can never get enough D3. Everyone's like, yeah, you should do it. It's a great idea. You should do it, because everyone wants to watch D3 play, but nobody wants to go up and play D3. So that's typically the issue. Or you'll get 5 teams, and you can't run an event with 5 teams. You just can't. So
yeah, it's not feasible. Yeah, I think if you look at it, depending on like how our personnel is, it'd probably be like us, y'all, a clutch team, a crisis team, and then you're like a tantrum team maybe, and then you're kind of scrambling looking for players after that, like who else is going to show up. You might see like the Jungle Cats in there if they decide to come out, but that's about it, because I mean there hasn't been a series around here for a long time, and so you do have those D3 teams getting up there, but they're few and far between. There's I mean, it's more dedication, right? You have to spend a little bit more time dialing in your lanes and communicating. And
you guys seen it firsthand. I mean, you guys have taken that step this season to do that, and as you've seen, like, it is no easy feat. Like when you play against these camps that are shooting a pallet of paint per weekend, it's insane. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just the step to the NXL level at a D3 X ball level. It's night and day. It's insane. Like you play against these guys, and I was like let's just say you can run and gun to the corner 7 out of 10 times easily, and then you play against these guys like the Philly A's and Seattle Ninjas, and then we're getting shot by like our first bunker in, like on the Dorito side. I'm like, how the fuck are we losing guys going to the tall cake on the Dorito side? I'm like, we can like walk to that, and like no, like they have that lane fucking dialed.
Yep.
Jesus, it's insane.
That's the big difference. That's what I tell people.
That's why
nobody wants to hear it. They're like, oh, everybody's gun shoot. Yeah, everybody gun shoots the same speed. They all shoot the same across the field. Like, I'm okay. Yes, I understand that, but that guy has probably shot that lane upwards of about 200 times, and he knows exactly where the drop is. He has the time on the clock come off. Like, it is dialed the fuck in. You know what I mean? And he's only shooting like 8 shots there, and then he's shooting that lane and another lane, so he has a chance of hitting 2 different guys, but for one guy. So it's wild, man. And that was the craziest game I've played was the Sunshine State Series versus Philly A's, who we drew. Two of the teams were first and second for the overall event, but they were so zeroed in, man. We were losing, like, there was a few points. We lost 2 guys in the break. I'm like, this is fucking wild. I'm like, how are we losing dudes like every single time? You guarantee to lose 1 and typically sometimes 2. I'm like, this is fucking insane.
Yeah,
that's fucking wild.
Yes.
So Matt, can we get a rundown of the CPS? Obviously said it was a decent event. How about you guys in particular? So your first match was against Carolina Virus. I'm kind of going off memory
here. So yeah, we played Virus for the first one. We went in there with 7 guys and no pit. Which we so in concept, Steven's usually like the big dog that always says stuff, and he's like, we're like, do we want to pick up somebody? And Steven's like, no, let's run with our 7. And so I was like, well, if we can get maybe Courtney out to play, maybe Wes can come help coach a little bit. So that'll be like a double-edged sword. Like, it'll help us both ways. And I was like, yo, can Courtney come out? And he was like, she just had COVID. So I was like, damn. And so he was like, maybe Shane. And I was like, I don't think the guys would really want him out there, because we needed like a 1, somebody else that could just book it to the corner if we needed. And I was like, I don't see Shane really doing that. So I was like, I think we'll just run with 7 and hope for the best. And the funny thing is, we showed up and my brother actually forgot to put my buddy Will that played with us on the roster. So it were like, we might be with 6, but luckily Andy and them are pretty nice, and they just let him put him back on. Nice. Yeah, and we also didn't have a lot of pods, which didn't help either. So we were really in a bad spot. But not
having a pit sucks, man. It is underestimated, but not having a pit fucking sucks.
There's 2 of us standing on the sidelines. I look at him like, are you running pods? Because I have to run to the Dorito corner this next point. And he's like, yeah, I'll run pods. And so like first point was against Virus, and they had already played 1 match. So I was a little hesitant, I was like, they're probably gonna know the field just a little bit better than us because it is a blind layout. But my biggest thing on blind layouts is, dude, play your bunkers tight, shoot your gun just a little bit more, and just talk. Like, you can put the whole field together if you just talk. So luckily everybody had their bunker calls down, and I think we won like 1-2 or 1-3.
I just pulled it up 3-1. Yep.
Yeah, 3-1. So they just, I don't think a lot of those guys had played together too much, because I know Luke was on the team. They had another guy that was guesting on the team. So I mean, there's some OG players. So I think just us having those wheels and able to move a little bit faster definitely put us in a good position to win that one. And I found out the field. Solus was supposed to come video us, but he had to cancel because we were the only people that booked him. So so I was like, okay, Barrel Cam's gonna have to do it for YouTube. And I had like probably one of my best plays out there, because the Dorito corner was blocked out by the Dorito there's the actual Dorito. The Doritos weren't actually Doritos. It was 1 Dorito and then a can and a wedge and then a little Dorito.
That's so I got a Dorito in the center of the field too, right?
Yeah, it had 2 Doritos, and they were in the fills were pointing towards you, so it's not like they were angled to where you could like, how the Doritos, if the fill is like pointed towards you, it's like rounded, so you can't really like hide yourself in the bunker. So that's how all the Doritos were faced. So there was a little Dorito at like the 40, so you really couldn't play it because there was no way you could hide from people. And so it's basically 1 Dorito that everybody played, and I just kind of blocked out the Dorito corner with it, and I like shot 2 guys trying to fill, and I literally like went all the way up to their 20 and blocked the 1 guy out and shot everybody else. And it was a pretty good feeling. I just looked back at my barrel cam footage, and there was literally mud on my camera the whole way up there. So I was like, oh no, I was like, oh, my best point of the day, and can't even see it. But yeah, Virus, it was good because we really just like first time like us all playing together, we put it together pretty well. So it felt good. That gave us momentum. And then we played KMA after that, which they actually came out and were swinging. And it surprised me because usually KMA doesn't have the best showing. They're really good guys. We love playing against them, but sometimes they just get the short end of the stick. And I mean, they came out there and we won the first point, but they won the second point. And I mean, they were 4 bodies up. So I was like, okay, these guys are balling this time around. And so they actually won like the second point after that. But one of their guys traded out with one of our guys, and he was yelling at the refs, dude. Oh, God. And he was still going. I was walking off the field, and I looked at Corey Hicks is usually one of the corner refs that's always crowning people do with the long blonde hair. Yeah. And I was looking at him. I was like, flag, dude. I was like, this dude is still going. And so I see him throw up a yellow flag, and I'm like, okay, that might have won us a point. I look back, and the other ref throws up a red flag, and I was like, oh Lord, this dude really, really threw that one out the window. And I think we ended up winning that like 4-1.
Yeah,
so we kind of put it together after that. So those 2 games were really good warm-ups, and they set us up for like the rest of the day. So the next 2 matches, I scouted Hooties really, really hard, because I knew that if we could beat the Hooties, we wouldn't have to worry about beating Underground the next match. So I was just watching them, and they pretty much had the same breakout every time. Their guys had like the same secondary moves. So I was like, okay, I kind of know what they're going to do. And so we went out and played the Hooties, and that was first point. They beat us, or no, the first point we won, second point they beat us. And I was like, it's going to get tight. And the third point, we just steamrolled them. Literally 25 seconds into the point, they get a towel, because I roll out and they have a guy in the can. And he's like wrapping all the way around, and I just pop up. I shoot him, then I shoot their home, and then the other guys stack the home, try to fill out. And we shoot him, and it's like 4 bodies down, 25 seconds in. So 2-1, we're up. We have 350 left on the clock, and so I'm like, okay, this is to be like another point. If we win this, we get 2-point lead. We literally burnt the whole clock out.
Jesus.
4 minutes.
Yeah, just playing. And this layout, dude, I'll tell you what, this layout, I got shot more off break this layout than any other layout I've ever played in any division, because there were so many lanes you could shoot. And I was the guy that was going to, run out and die. I said, I'll be the guy that does it. We'll keep everybody else alive. Like, the snake lanes were massive. They were probably, like 3 meters wide,
Jesus.
So you're looking at, they were just huge. I mean, you could shoot every single bunker going into the snake and every single bunker going into the Doritos from the 3 back bunkers. So you basically just,
of course, the one we don't play, the best.
Yeah, I was thinking about it too. I was like, man, y'all probably would have done good, because this was like one of those gunfighting layouts where you basically get to your bunkers, you let your snake guy crawl all the way to the 50, and everybody else just stays and shoots.
Yeah, that would have been very ideal for us.
Yeah, and then the back center was a temple, and you could stack 2 people up at it. So it was one of those things where you just like, you would literally just sit on your guns. And so, I mean, I was the one guy that was like, raised my hand. It's like, I'll go, I'll sacrifice myself. So we ended up running out the time on them, and I was walking off the field, which is funny. And I was like, do we need to towel it? I was like, we need to save time, because they're going to beat us, And as I'm like going through the net to look at the time, it literally was like game over. And I was like, oh, I was like, well, good thing we didn't towel it.
Yeah.
But because I had no clue that like we had burnt that much time off. I was just shooting pods, seeing people. And so we won that. And then, I mean, at that point, we're feeling it, because I looked at the temperature the day before, 90 degrees once it hit like 1 o'clock on, it was just like, it's going to be hot. So next we go play Underground. And I was like, guys, we don't have to win this. Let's literally figure out what the best teams are doing and how we can beat them, and just try different things, go to bunkers we haven't tried yet, because we're in now, right?
Yeah.
We're just going to figure out, like, if we make it to finals, we might be playing them. So we got to figure out like what they're doing, stuff like that. So we go out, and I think we lost 3-2 to them, which is funny. I got a major on a bounce. One of these points, I was gunfighting with a guy like across the field in my mirror, and dude shoots me in the hand, and I come in and I shoot my bunker, and the ref next to me waves it off, but the ref towards more of the middle of the field runs at me. And he's like, you're hit. And I was like, where? And I showed him my hand. I had rub on my hand, obviously, because I played the bunker, tight enough. And he sees the rub and immediately throws the red flag, doesn't check me or anything. And I'm like, I look at him. I'm like, where am I hit? And he's like, right there in your hand. I saw you rub it. And I'm looking at my hand. I'm like, there's paint right here. But I was like, there's no paint anywhere else. And I look at the other ref that's next to me, and I said, do you see paint on my hand, like enough to call a hit? And he's like, maybe on your shoulder. And he points at my left shoulder that has like some paint that's dried up on it. He's like, well, no, I wouldn't call that either. So I walk to the next ref. I'm like, do you see anything on me? And he's like, maybe on your shoulder. And he points at the same shoulder. He's like, oh wait, maybe, no, I wouldn't call that a hit either. And so I'm like, this man, he just threw a major on me and didn't even check me. I was like, okay. So that was the only downside. The other thing was I dived on a paintball, and he called me out, and I looked at him. I was like, I run into the right side of the field with my left side showing, and I dive from my right arm. How do I get shot? My right elbow. I was like, yeah. I looked at the ref. I was like, that's it's physics, dude. I was like, there's no way I get shot on that side, you know? I was like, whatever. But I got a major on that point, but kind of figured out how they played. I was watching them and I kind of like found some weaknesses that they had. And so I knew that if we played them again, I would do it. But they had their lanes dialed in on the Doritos side. It's like everywhere I ran, I was either getting shot or getting bounced. But like I could tell that their communication was a little bit off. I'd put somebody in and the other guy would have time to switch. He wouldn't switch in time. They played the middle really hard. So I was like, okay, if we play them again, I'll know what to do. So we get put into the
quarters.
Yeah, quarters, and we have the Hounds, which is funny enough that they had a pretty stacked roster. I will say that everybody knew who a lot of those people were. They had two of the guys from Crisis D2 that are still ranked D4, and then they had Paul Mulkey, which he was on the team too because he's still ranked D3. And they had a couple other guys, and I mean people that are around here know the Charlotte Bloodhounds, so they were like, "Dang, these guys are stacked." And I was like, okay, I mean, they're gonna play good paintball. I gotta know that. So some of the other guys that play them like, hey, they shoot pretty high. So if you run low, you could probably get them, you know, and they're running really shallow routes. And I was like, okay. So first point, you know, like dive into the Charlie, I make it in fine. I'm still getting hit like on the way in there, but I'm asking for checks and they're all bouncing because by that time it's over 100. Yeah, it's over 100 degrees out there. So the paint's just like it's completely like rubberized. It's like you got to hit me in a hard spot for it to break. But really it went down to, it was 2-2, it was 2-2, and they actually hit the buzzer going in, but the clock didn't go off. Like the sound didn't go off. It had hit double zeros, but the sound didn't go off. So they hit the buzzer thinking that they had won the point. And I was like, oh man, like we lost. I was like, I didn't feel too bad that we lost because at that point we were all like exhausted. Avery had thrown up because he was so tired. Like all our guys were on the sidelines. Like Will was having cramps where he was like, ugh. And so I was like, oh, we lost. I was like, it sucks, man. But at the same time, we're all dead tired. And they're like, no, y'all play overtime point. We're like, huh? Like, no, y'all gotta play overtime point. Yeah. And so I was like, okay. I was like, I just ran and dove into the Doritos 5 points in a row. I was like, let Tyler go out there and play the Doritos. And we actually pulled it out, and it was crazy because we got a kill off the break on the Doritos side. And so it was a 4-on-5, and then they peeled two more guys out towards a 2-on-5. I was like, okay, we got it, right? We're here. We got 2-on-5. And then my brother and Steven get shot at like the 50s, both at the same time. And I'm like, yeah, I know y'all seen it before. Y'all see it where like you start seeing like the momentum start to shift. Yes. And like, oh God, it's like we're about to lose it, man. And so like I see both of them get shot at the same time. I'm like, guys, don't do this to me. And then Tyler gets shot too. Tyler Billatier gets shot. And I was like, oh my God. I was like, it's the 2-on-2 now. But luckily, I think he shot the Dorito corner at the same time. And it took them probably like a minute and a half to figure out it was a 1-on-2. And it was Avery and Drew. And then Drew went on the inside and Avery's on the inside too. And I'm like, they're not spreading the field. The guy filled back to the home. So I'm like, okay, y'all can even spread the field more. They're still just like sitting there. I was like, oh, yeah. Lord. Luckily, Drew shot him. And I was on the sideline just like stressing out. I'm like, we're going to run out of time. We're going to have to go into 1-on-1. So I was like, they're taking forever. But luckily, Drew shot him. And then they ended up hitting the buzzer. And so that helped us out a lot. And so now we're in the semis and we're all dead at this point. We are done. And I don't know if y'all know who Gavin Stokes is. He plays for Crisis, the D4 team.
Oh, he always pops up as someone I should know on my Facebook.
Dude, yeah, he literally is like the rock of our team that's never played with us. He literally helps us pit. He's helped us pit at the last 2 cups that we played at. He's helped us pit like multiple times. And I looked at him, I was like, hey man, you want to help us out in the pits? He's like, I'll help you out, dude. And so at this point, Tyler Billatier cramped up so bad that it didn't like unlock and he couldn't play at all. So we're down to 6 guys. And Will's literally like, dude, my back and my legs are cramped up right now. And he's like squatted down, like holding. And I was like, we have 5 guys. And so we're playing purple now. Purple beat Underground, Clutch Purple. And so these are the guys I usually play with. So I'm like, I really want to beat them. But at this point, I'm like, I don't have enough energy to even think about who I'm playing. I'm just like going out there and getting on the box and running to my spot. And so I'm like, it's basically like we get in there and we drop 2 points like pretty quickly. And I'm like, fuck, dude. It's like we are in trouble now. And
You're just
so
gassed at that point.
yeah. I mean, at this point,
you can't
dude,
really fight back when you're gassed because
no.
usually if you're down points, you have to make stuff happen, and then you just don't have the tank to go do it.
You go from like this little speedster to like this guy that just has to live behind his gun moving is pretty much what I did.
Yeah.
But we finally got 1 point on the board and it was like 3-1 and we had like a minute 50 left to score 2 more points. And in my head, I'm like, that's enough time, but I don't think it's enough time for us right now. and so we had like the last point and I heard like the 60-second calls. I'm just like out in the open, basically dumping pods, trying to put this one guy in, and I get shot and I'm just like walking off and I could just like, it was one of those things I'm like, damn, bro, like I can't breathe really was what the biggest thing was. I think my core temperature on my body was so high, I couldn't get enough oxygen into my lungs. Like it was the first time I ever felt like that, but it was like completely shortness of breath. And I had Steven pour like a bottle of water down my back. And I felt a lot better. I was like, dude, I'm way too hot right now. And so I had to do like 3 different times that match or that entire match because I like literally couldn't breathe. It was so hot.
Jesus.
Yeah. And so we lose that. And so we're all walking off and I'm like, damn, man, we lost. But then again, I don't got to play. Well, I told him, I was like, we made it into semis. So we got 2 more matches, guys. And so after that one, I was like, oh Lord. And then Avery literally fell out. Avery, like his blood sugar dropped. And then I guess he was dehydrated at the same time and literally was like one word at a time. Like, do you have Propel packets? And I'm like, I don't, Avery. And so like Scuba was over there like giving him waters. Yeah, Scuba was there like giving him waters and we like were giving him bananas. And it was literally just like I looked over, my brother's like laying under the table down. And I'm like, you. I looked at him. I looked at Avery. I said, I think we should forfeit for 4th. And he's like, yeah. And the
so
only
don't kill anybody.
Yeah. The only person that's good is Steven. And I don't know how he does this, but literally, like Avery coaches swim kids, right? He coaches like high schoolers and stuff like that. And he's coached these kids that have gone to like nationals. And he also coaches the shenanigans and he does bodybuilding, like coaches bodybuilding. So he's been around a lot of athletes. He told Tyler, he's like, I've never seen anyone in my life handle heat like Steven does. And so Steven goes over to the wreckers, which coincidentally enough, from the same spot as us, they had a guy get hurt, another guy that was like super dehydrated. And then another guy, I think that like had hurt his groin like the match before. And Steven goes, do you just want to do a 1-on-1 for 3rd, 4th? And then one of the guys he used to play with Carolina Breakout, he's like, sure. And so it's literally a $1,200 1-on-1. And so I had confidence. Steven's actually like back in the day won like this Tampa Bay Damage clinic they had. He won like the 1-on-1 championship. And then I've seen him do 1-on-1s with Kyle Spica and beat him. So I was like, okay, if somebody does 1-on-1s, I want Steven to do it. And literally Steven goes out there and wins it. And that just made it everything better. I was like, okay.
Bananas.
Yeah, I was like, okay. I was like, a good thing the CPSL isn't like strict. I'm like, no 1-on-1s. It's like, who's going to forfeit first? But yeah, that was like the most expensive 1-on-1 we've ever seen. But it was definitely a good way to end it. I was like, it was a good event. It wasn't great because we almost died, all of us, but it was good. You know, we ended up paying off some of our paint tab, which helped out.
Yeah, that's always the best thing.
Yeah, dude. I mean,
fucking awesome.
Yeah, and literally like that heat just it changes everything, man. It changes how your paint shoots. It changes, how like the refs ref. It changes everything.
I think we're built for the heat down here now because like we go to some of these events like the MVPS and it's like 275 fucking degrees and you have that humidity is just disgusting. I'm like, I feel like there's events like what's the one that we won last year in Jacksonville? I think it was 30, what did like 34, 35 points, Mike? Is that what it was?
Oh yeah, it was a lot.
It was like 33 or 35 points. And me and Jamie set 1 point apiece or 2 points apiece the whole event. And I was like, this is fucking insane. And we were fine. We played the whole event. And that was when Jamie rode back with you.
Dude, you have no idea. Yeah. Matt, Jamie would be in my passenger seat. We had Michael Payne in the back. Jamie would stick his legs out of the window of my truck, and his legs would just cramp like this. Yeah, and he's just like screaming, and I'm like, dude, I can't do it. He goes, you got to pull over. I'm like, all right, I pull over, and he was like, I need pickle juice. I stopped at 3 different grocery stores to get him pickle juice. I'd like run in there, and I'd be come out, and his feet would just be like stretched out of the truck. I'm like, what is going on? It took us. It added like an hour and a half to the trip.
Jeez.
Because like. And then he was supposed to drive halfway back because I drove all the way there and back. He ended up doing it like a couple hours in. He was like, I can do like the last hour of the trip. And I'm like, good, because I'm fucking tired. You talking about playing a lot of points in the heat, though, Wes. That we didn't play 32, but we played like 25. But it was a MVPS 5-man. That one with me, you, and your brother. That was a hot fucking day, too.
Yeah, that was a bad day.
That was like,
I was passing out at the end of the day. I remember that.
It was Mike just because
was about to fucking die at the end of the day.
Yeah. Well, because it was everything. Obviously, it's just race to 2, but it was all going like it was like win, loss, win, win, loss, win, and I'm like, motherfucker, like, can we either 2-0 someone or get 2-0'd? Like one or the other. I don't care what it is.
I think also that you have to play all the matches in one day are just insane.
Yeah.
You know, like in at any given MVPS, or if they have a bigger CPSL, like you're looking at least 25 to 30 points, which you're typically looking at. And you're doing them all in one day, which is insane. Because when you think about it, it's normal to us. But when I go to play the NXL, it's like, all right, you play him here, play him here. Cool, you go Sunday. And you play the same amount of points, but you do them on Sunday. Or sorry, a 3-day gap. Yeah. You play like 2 matches Friday, 2 matches Saturday, and then 2 to 3 matches Sunday if you were to move it all the way through. So you're like, damn, this is way better. Like you can see, like you could have took you could take your 7 core guys there and just play, because you're not playing 7-8 matches in one day. It's so much easier.
Yeah, so, and that's the funny thing was the beginning of the year is that they played the TXL and they won. And I was on the roster. I didn't play though. I pretty much was just pitting. I was there for support just because all my friends were there. And so I was there and they're like, we're never playing another 1-day event, like we're never doing that. Because I mean, we play the NXL and obviously like we didn't do very hot at the NXL. That might be another hot topic. It's like, oh, we played D3 like the beginning of the year, but we didn't do too hot, and it's really personnel. Like we didn't have all the people to play D3 for Chicago. So we were like, why not play D4? We're still all D4, So it's one of those things where it's like, hey man, like these 2-day events are really nice,
Oh, yeah.
Like you are fresh, you get good night's sleep. I had 2 hours of sleep going there. So oof. I mean, because I was supposed to get off at 8, and of course the girl that's supposed to come in for me called out, which was great. So I ended up staying at work till like 11:30. So I got 2.5 hours of sleep. Drew got about the same, and so we both headed out from Clemson and went straight there. And that's another thing is like these NXL events, you get to go and stay in a hotel the night before because you have to. You can't show up the morning of.
Yeah.
So you go stay in a hotel and you get 8 hours of sleep, and you wake up and you go play 2 matches where you play max 15 points.
Yeah, you could play balls the fuck out too.
Yeah, and I mean, you go out there, you're shooting the best paint. You got some of the best reps. It's a way different atmosphere. It's still paintball at the end of the day, so it still feels the same.
We've talked about it. I just can't stand the fucking entry fees. Like,
I
agree. Don't have to worry about it too bad with VM, but man, it just sucks for like, you guys know obviously firsthand, but damn, man, I love all the plus sides of the NXL. I love the competition. I love the paint. I love the atmosphere. I love the venues. That's all great. But man, at the end of the day, when you're spending almost $3,000 in entry fee or whatever it is, what's it, 2,650 or 2,700?
Yeah, 2,500.
Yeah.
Man, it's like
if you're on time.
It's like so insane. It's wild.
Yeah.
You say the competition though. Do you think you do get the best competition at the NXL, or do you think some of these local teams that can't quite travel, they can't afford to do the travel, but they are better teams than some of those?
No, there's not. All the best teams are at. Yeah, for sure, 100%.
Yeah, for the higher divisions, definitely.
Okay. I mean, I give you for the higher division, but
yeah, when you get into D4, it's definitely hit or miss.
Yeah.
But once you like D3, you'll get some pretty good competition. But I mean, you're not playing anybody like the D2 and semi-pro divisions. Like you can go to the WC or any other. I don't know if there's any other leagues that have
the like MVPS does a D2.
Yeah,
they did do it. Yeah,
now they're doing something called the Premier League.
Yeah, that's what it was.
It's kind of cool. They just started it, but it's like a draft. So they give you like 10,000 points, and you can build your roster among the points.
Yeah.
So, which is kind of cool. But I'm not sure how that's going to take off. But yeah, but WCPL does it. And so that's the only other place to even get like big. So yeah, once you hit that wall, like I'm trying to like take off as many events as I can because I'm already on the borderline of busting into D2, and I'm trying to like skate by and play events here and there now, so I don't bust into D2.
Mhm.
Like, man, I'll be fucking roster locked.
Yeah, you can play like 4 events in the year and that's it.
Done.
So
Wes is like, it'd be a shame if I had to use my dad's APPA again.
Yeah, exactly. That'd be great.
Says you're 69 here.
Yeah.
Yep, my number.
When we all first started coming back in 2017, 2018, Wes was just slightly higher than all of us. He's like, should I do it? And I'm like, if you do it, just don't tell me you're doing it. That's all I could say. I don't want to know. If that's what you do, that's on you. I'll add it. Whatever you give me to the roster, we can add it, but I don't want to know.
Yeah.
I just put his number in, man. I don't know.
Yeah.
I just
same picture.
Yeah, it looks like the same. The ID says
same name, dude.
Wes,
Same name.
Yeah.
Your dad used to tell us you would call up companies back in the day and go, I'm Wes Itel. And he was like, he's not lying, but they would think they're talking to me. They were talking to.
Yeah. Hey, fuck them. Yeah. I'm out here buying fucking thousands of dollars a gun when I'm like fucking 13, 14 years old. Yeah, go ahead and send me that e-oracle over here. Yeah. What else? 30 cases of paint. Yeah, go ahead and get that coming too. We're good to go. We're good to go on that.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah, I will say like the CPSL, I think that D3 is definitely the move for them. I talked to Andy and he said that he was like, maybe we'll do like a hybrid division of D3, D2, so it opens up a little bit more for people. Yeah. I was like, it's gonna be hard because even there's not even a lot of those. Like, what you're gonna need a couple of the semi-pro crisis guys to play, and that's about it. Like, because there's not even a lot of D2 players in like the Carolinas. There's plenty in Georgia, but they all travel to play. So
Virginia.
Virginia too.
Camps.
Yeah. So I mean, and even then, you're still cutting it thin at like 8 teams. So it's the same thing with like the AXBL. I think used to have a D3 event, but I don't think that lasted very long. So
maybe just make the D4 X ball have 3 D3.
Yeah, 3 D3 players. There you go.
I mean, you know,
then it'd be hybrid, right? It'd be D3, D4 hybrid.
There you go.
Let's make it all hybrid. Everything's open, damn it.
Yeah, that'll funny. Not be nice.
I mean, you could just do like the USXBL does.
Yeah.
When it starts, you just wipe everybody's roster clean, so nobody ever gets points. You can be D4 forever.
Yeah. I mean, you had a viable hot take on that, saying that you don't think that's fair. I think for the highest division, it's fair. Like for D2, maybe like if you have a D2 division, like the Premier, like, hey, nobody gets points for this, like that's fair. But I think for like the D4 and D5, you definitely should.
Yeah, just out there beating the shit out of the same teams.
Yeah,
beating the fuck out of them for like 6 years. Like, dude, you've been playing D5 for 7 years.
Yeah, that's like the same thing. Like Shadow trying. Like I see them all the time, like placing super high in like NXL events, but they have one D3 like team, and that's it. And I'm
Greed's the worst one. They win just about everything over there, and it's because all they play is the USXBL, and then they go to all the paintball fit big events they have there, and they beat the fuck out of everybody there and that's all it's on their APA. Mm-hmm. Oh, you've got played like 12 events total. Yeah, sure have. And they're like, well, you guys have won like 8 fucking USXBLs and series champion 3 years in a row. Oh yeah, I guess I don't know why they're not on there. It's weird.
That's weird.
How many events have y'all played this year? I was wondering that. I counted mine. I'm at 8 right now.
I've probably played 4. I've had to skip a few.
I'm probably at like 10, 12, probably 12.
Yeah. I was going to say, Wes, you're probably at a high number. I played 5 events last year and I think 5 the year before. So I'm definitely about to jump past all the events I've played if I play the CPSL and then Cup for sure. So
I've played
I've played 5 and coached 1.
Yeah. I've played all the CPSLs, all the MVPSs, and then 2 NXLs.
Oh, yeah, you play the NXLs as well.
So you're at like 10. You're at like 10 now.
Yeah.
I think, yeah.
What is your ranking, Wes? Like
D3 900, I think.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So like we're not playing Chicago. Like we're gonna put a team in for Chicago, but we've already won the series championship already. So we don't even have to play the Chicago or cup and we could just like show up and just get our ring.
Yeah.
All right, have a good one, guys.
It was nice meeting you. Nice seeing you.
But we'll definitely play cup, and we're trying to build a roster right now just to throw in for Chicago, just so the guys have something to play over there. But I'm taking off. I think we're gonna end up missing the last CPSL. Not our team, just probably me and her, for the reason that we have our main vacation is that week. So and then Chicago, we had the chance, our work was sending us to Disney for like 3 days. And I'm like, well, we don't really need to go to Chicago, and like this whole Disney resort and like a 3-day Disney trip is like free. I'm like, yeah, fuck paintball. I'm just gonna take Disney.
Yeah, Chicago, Disney. Disney's a little bit higher. Yeah.
Shot or see, very expensive mice running around.
Yeah.
Very expensive mice running around. I was like, what analogy he's gonna use here? I got it.
I was waiting for it.
So yeah, I'll probably miss those, but we'll have to figure out something. So
yeah, we got an. When's the MVPS?
I believe it's the weekend after. So I think CPSL is October 9th and 10th. So I would imagine the MVPS is probably the 17th, 18th.
Yeah, it's 16th, 17th. Yep.
Yeah, 9th and 10th and 15th through the 17th. So yeah.
Yeah, so I'll probably play the MVPS. So we'll try to do something at the MVPS. Definitely be there.
Yeah, my first impressions at MVPS is wild, dude. I was like, this. I told Brantley, I was like, we probably should have played that D3 series this year.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I think it's a very good mix too. It's not as strong as in XL, but it's definitely pretty fucking potent. Like there's some good teams there, and if you play it in the beginning of the season when all the teams are like TMB puts a line in, there's a lot of good teams there. When it's really flooding, like towards the end of the season, you only get about 10 to 15 teams because a lot of them aren't in the race anymore for points. But you play the first 2 events, they're pretty fucking big, and they got some stout ass teams that come in and go, all right, let's see what we can do the first 2 events, and if we don't place, then we'll just go to somewhere else. A lot of guys do that, so you get some competition in those first 2 events. But it's ran really well. My only knock on the whole series is the paint pricing, is a little bit high, but it's not high, definitely more expensive at other places, but you are shooting GI 4-star and 5-star for technically only $5 more a box than what you're going to CPSL and shooting fucking AIDS for. So
that was a big thing.
Professional practice paint. Sorry.
Yeah, that was a big thing. I told him, I was like, dude, I mean, set up like the NXL. I mean, the refs were good, especially on the D5 field. The refs were excellent. Like, no bad calls at all for me. And I mean, you're standing there watching me on the sideline, so you knew. But you're getting the best paint that you could shoot, and it was all refrigerated. There's no problems. They had text there, so if you need stuff like that, they've got the whole ID system, so they check your IDs, so you can just hop on the field and play whenever. But I mean, it was like ran exactly like a an XL event. I'm sure.
Mini XL. That's what he has.
Yeah. I mean, Alex obviously has played a lot of paintball, so he's seen it and understands how he needs to run it, and so that's a big ups to him. Is that event is ran like seamlessly to me from the outside.
Out of all the events I've played, I haven't played WCPL, but the guys tell me that like Chris and then we would play together. He says the only events they know that run like the MVPS is the WCPL. Everything else is just like in the shadows compared to those 2.
Yeah. See if we're gonna fly you out there to one of those.
Yeah. So
I was about to say that's because Mike Hideman runs it. Nobody's gonna talk to Mike. So
true.
Yeah, nobody's gonna say something to him. Nobody wants him on your ass. So
yeah, exactly. And Mike has always seemed to be a pretty straight shooter as far as it comes to everything from running that event to business in general and paint and everything else. He's always pretty fucking straightforward. So
yeah, I would agree, sis. So how many followers do you have on TikTok now? You
man,
you the big one.
Let me check. Let me check real quick. It was like 820,000 last time I saw.
Jesus, let's
820,000.
Yeah,
dude,
it's
start knocking some TikTok dances out.
Okay, right? It's 838 right now.
838K. Look at you. Congrats, man. That is
man.
Freaking
awesome. You say one of your vids had like 50 million?
Yeah, it's over 50 million right now. Well, actually, it's funny that I have the 2 most viewed videos on TikTok for paintball. and they're both of Tyler just in the Doritos dumping paint. It's like because his fingers are really fast, and he's got that trigger on the Lux, which is literally like if you ever feel his trigger, if you ever get a chance, it's the best trigger I've ever felt on a gun. He's just got it dialed in, and it bounces right straight back to you. So he can just shoot it as fast as he wants. But he's in the Doritos at Cup, and it's the footage that Jen got of us. But he's just dumping paint, and he's literally as soon as he dumps the one pod, he starts dumping the next pod, and it's just the combination of him with his fingers moving that fast and him dumping that paint, and people literally just went wild on it. You know, they're like, he's wasting paint. Look how fast his fingers are moving. They're like, thank you for serving the country, stuff like that. You get the whole spectrum there. It's so much to where I don't even I can't read the comments anymore. You know, there's thousands of comments, people having arguments.
Like 20 and then just let it go.
Yeah. So I reply to the smaller videos, but now it's to the point where I just let it run its course. You know, if something happens on there, I have no clue because I'm the only person on this little page of mine. So
yeah,
that is awesome. Well, congrats, man. That is.
I appreciate it.
When I saw it start blowing up, I remember you put it on your Facebook, and I was like 125K or something. I was like, holy shit, that's a lot. And then it was like that video went out, and I was like, oh, it's a lot now. Like,
yeah, it's crazy because 3 months ago I just hit 1,000, and that was literally the first time I'd hit 1,000 anything on like any of my social medias besides like Facebook.
Yeah.
So it was like one of those things where I was like, hey guys, listen, this is my first like social media account that's ever hit 1,000. And then like literally like a day later, like that one video popped off and I went up to like 500K, and then the next video popped off. And now I've got probably have like 8 or 9 videos that are over 1 million views. So
yeah,
God, I need to do the TikTok. I made one and it was Frank getting shot, and I'm like, oh, that was perfect. Frank got shot in the face. I was like, that's great. That's all I ever needed.
Yeah, it's just a grind, man. I mean, I'm so big into editing now. I just sit down, I'll make like 15 of them for the next 15 days, you know, and I'll post one each day. So,
dude, I like it. Do you have anything else, good sir? No,
I'm all out.
When do your videos go live on YouTube every single day, or not every single day, but at the same time every week, or how do you do?
I usually just post once a week. I have no clue when they're gonna go up just because of my my schedule and everything. Okay. Oh, I did want to ask y'all, what y'all think about the Astra video? Did y'all watch that at all?
No,
I just
seen it up last week. I haven't watched it yet.
Yeah, it's definitely
gonna do like a series.
Yeah, so they're posting, I think once a week. I think they kind of geared it towards the wrong audience, in my opinion, but it's definitely a good video to watch. I think they were trying to like do a little more educational stuff like of the sport, and I think that if people are watching this high level pro tournament that nobody knows the team's names of, I think it would be a little bit more to gear it towards the audience of paintball. But it's still good. I still think it's good. It's put together pretty well. I mean, Yosh Designs did it, so he always puts out good content.
Oh, yeah. All paintball is good paintball. So
yep.
What about you, Mr. Itel? You have anything else? We would give Matt 10 questions, but he's already answered them.
Yep. Yeah, and I listen like every week, so I think I'd be ready for all of them.
Yeah, so that's what I thought too. I was like, we can do the other set, but I was like, I bet he's heard them, so it doesn't even matter.
Yep.
But
we're good.
All right. Well, I guess we're running a little shorter than an hour, so that's about where I wanted to be. So, Matt, thanks for coming back on, and congratulations to you guys, 3rd place. Podiums are always great. They're hard to come by in paintball. They're hard to come by anything, but paintball is a very difficult sport. People do not realize.
Yeah, finished with a win too, which is a good feeling, right?
Yeah, I know. 2nd places suck so much more than 3rds. But thanks for listening, watching. My sister bought a hat, so thank you, Taylor, for buying a hat. And we will see you guys on the next one. Peace out.
Later.